What specific business challenges led you to consider a CRM like Proton?
Yeah. So we were working on our sales process, particularly with the inside guys. We were working on fact-finding questions. Right away at the beginning, these guys had been more in a order-taking role and mode. One of the inside salesmen came over and he said, I really do want to get into this fact-finding thing without knowing some things that they may need to order. It just gets kind of old asking them over and over and over again, like, well, what do you need? Is there anything else I can do for you? They always say, well, no, I called and ordered what I needed. And so, to be able to take a look historically at how customers have placed orders and their order pattern, and then to make recommendations on items that were due to reorder, really to me started to answer that question as to, here's some specific product recommendations that could be value add to the customer, especially, in the age of COVID where people were just ordering like mad. It turned out to be somewhat of a value add to be able to say, well, hey, have you checked your stock on A, B, and C item? We see here that those may be due to reorder.
Expanding on that, what impact has Proton had on your sales efforts and results?
Yeah, I do think it has increased the amount of sales that our team has been able to close. And you can kind of see that by the attributed revenue number that shows up. Anytime that there's a pitch or a quote is followed up on, and then that order comes through within the next 2 weeks, the system reads that and then does attributed revenue. Just a reminder and the requirement on our part to say you have to do 7 pitches a day. They frequently go in and look at all their open quotes and they say, all right, which of these was pretty hot and I need to follow up on? I don't think they would be following up on all those quotes if they didn't easily have it accessible in the system like they do. And then the other recommendations in terms of due to reorder, new items that are recommended and frequently purchased with, to varying degrees, we have varying degrees of success with those. But the due to reorder certainly has made our sales team much more proactive in talking to the customer about opportunities for new sales and bringing up rather than just being in receive mode when those orders come in. So very frequently an order will come in and then they can say, let me look quickly. Okay, yeah, this item's due to reorder, and ask the customer right on the same phone call, while you're putting in this order, let's take a look at your stock items here. And you typically put in A, B, and C for stock, or frequently purchase this item and it's been a while, you need to put that in. So I would also say it's helped to increase the order size per invoice as well.
What impact has Proton had on internal communication and account knowledge management?
I think it certainly gives a good historical look at the product lines that the customer really purchases from BPI. And so they can take a look and say, oh, wow, this guy's a big GAF customer. This guy's a big Tyvek customer. This person, is a big AZEK TimberTech decking buyer. And really get a feel for what the mix historically has been. And then certainly right from the get-go, as I said before, it starts to make recommendations. But the other thing I think, you talked about information transfer. So the other thing that I certainly think that it helps with communication from the customer between the inside and outside sales team. When one goes in and does a call right on the outside and then puts that information in, right away, then immediately the inside salesman has that call note, to look at for that customer. Whereas, so if they call in, they can take a look at that real quickly. Whereas in the past, if the outside salesman didn't call the inside guy, right, and tell him all the things that happened, that knowledge transfer didn't happen. Vice versa, if there is an inside guy and he puts a quote out there and that quote's still sitting there and then the outside guy goes in and says, let me take a look at all the open quotes actually before I go in, and so I'm able to ask the customer about that, he can go in and say, oh, look at all these open quotes without having to have the chance to have had a full conversation. And you never fully remember when you're dealing with hundreds of customers, all those types of interactions. So to have the system have that, I think, is another benefit in terms of just information sharing. But it certainly helps you get to know the customer quicker as a new guy. And then, just in that other twist with information sharing, it certainly helps the inside and outside team share information that they've individually gathered about that customer.